Welcome, YouTube family. It's been a while. I haven't posted a reading on here in a very long time. And part of that is because I A, have not had the energy, and B, I've been unmedicated. And now that I am finally medicated and on my ADHD medication journey, I have more focus and more energy for more content, which is a win. So I have been wanting to do this reading for y'all for a really long time. Like, I'm pretty sure I was still living in my old place. So not the last condo, but like living back home. Okay, so that's a long time. I want to do a reading that we're focusing on, as y'all can tell from the title, is it lust versus love? So we're going to be looking into whether the relationship you are either just getting into, or that you're interested in getting into, or that you're already in, if it's lust or love. And for some of y'all, this isn't about an actual relationship. Maybe you have a crush on someone, maybe you're in a situationship, maybe you're just interested in starting to get back out there and you just met someone, or you're intrigued by somebody. I don't know. Take it however it applies to you, and as always, please remember that these are collective, so not every reading is going to resonate with you. That being said, we have a handful of piles today that we're going to be looking into, and I hope y'all enjoy it, because the better these do, the more I can do for you in the future. Anyway, I love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you see this, and I'm going to just put the piles next.
Hello! This is for those of you that chose pile number 1. You might have been drawn to the Witch's Tarot deck. Maybe you came from today's Patreon reading because we did use these two decks. Or you were just pulled to pile number 1 in general. I don't know. Whatever got you here, hello, welcome. As the introduction mentioned and as the title says, we're going to be looking into is it lust versus love? And we're going to be using both the Witch's Tarot deck and the Everyday Shuffle. I'm just going to hop right in and see what comes through. So for a lot of you, if you're new here, welcome. I love new people. But a lot of you probably already know that this particular deck to me is really witchy, spiritual, you know, divine kind of energy. So there could be something correlating towards this collective spirituality, your intuition, something about trusting more of those sides of yourself. I don't know. I thought another one flipped over. I don't know why, but I'm tasting like pizza. Pepperoni is what I just heard. Okay. All right, so what I think we're gonna do is pull from the tarot and then clarify with the oracle, and then we'll keep pulling oracle as we go. Immediately off the bat, I am kind of sensing that this collective needs to sit with this connection. There's something about, like, this is giving like an innocent kind of energy here with the Page of Cups. There's an innocence to this romantic connection, and we do have the Emperor underneath of it. So this, I am hearing divine connection for those of you that identify with that direction. That can be literally anything in a spiritual sense. Please remember not to put a title on it, but there's something very childlike about this energy that I actually really enjoy. It's almost like this romantic relationship actually really brings out a part of your inner child in a positive way, but I do feel like in order for it to be healthy, this collective needs to make sure that they're taking time for themselves and being truthful about their feelings and their boundaries. And I ultimately feel like the only way this relationship will actually go the distance and withstand the lengths of time, is what I just heard, is if you're both open with each other about your feelings and when you need a little bit of space. Because it's healthy to need space and connections. There's also something about how I feel like there's a shift here. I don't know. The Queen of Swords being in the dead center of this reading, I do feel like a lot of you are typically, I say this with love, but a lot of you are typically kind of on the colder side emotionally. And I feel like there's something about this particular relationship that actually brings out more of a kindness, more of a, like, they're showing me the Queen of Cups in my mind's eye. So it's like this relationship actually brings out a part of your compassionate side that I feel like you stifle away and hide. But there is an element here that, like, there's such a big emphasis on making sure that you still have boundaries in this relationship, because the ultimate reality is, even if this relationship is love-based, even if it has the potential to go in that direction, it's never going to work out if there's no boundaries. Okay, like, that doesn't matter if it's a lust-based or a romantic love-based. If there's no boundaries, the connection will not grow. And I feel like this particular collective is actually being heavily guided towards recognizing when they need more time. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. what is that song? You and me, na 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 na. I'm gonna look it up after the fact. The songs are in the description box below for each pile, of course. But I'm hearing, I think it might even be a kid song. You and me. So what I find really intriguing is this is so aligned with that Queen of Swords energy. You're not taking any bullshit right now. You're not tolerating inconsistency. You're not tolerating minimal effort. Like, you're like, you come correctly, you bring your A game, or you leave me alone. There's no in between here. And first and foremost, I do love that for this group. I feel like for those of you that are in a romantic relationship, there could be something about maybe calling your partner out on some shit. I don't know. I feel like you're currently in this position where you're spending a little bit more time for yourself. You're taking better care of you. Whether this is like eating better or working out more consistently, maybe you're doing doctor stuff. Whatever the case may be, you're in like an incubation period is what they're showing me in my mind's eye. Excuse me, something about Pokemon could be important for this relationship. But I feel like as you're in this period of rest, as you're in this period of kind of tending to yourself, there is something coming to light for you about what it means to move forward in this connection, what it means to feel more secure, to open yourself up. It's interesting. They want me to pull a little more tarot too. Okay, I guess we're just all over the place for this pile. Maybe that's a bit of a message in itself. They're also pulling me to like the really blue skies here. There could be something about a really nice clear day. Something about lavender as well is coming through. I'm also seeing, to my traditional women or non-binary, I'm seeing something about wearing more like dresses, specifically like flowy dresses. Interesting. So you do have the Fool and the Devil. This is exactly what I just said, because look at how those landed too. We're going to put these off to the side for a second. Look at how these landed too. You have the Devil going on top of the Four of Swords and the Queen of Swords, and then you have this Fool's influence on top of the Queen of Swords and the Three of Wands. This is Spirit confirming what we just talked about. In order for this relationship to actually have a chance, in order for things to open up in a way that feels right within your soul, in order for you to move through this connection in a way that's going to be beneficial for you, whether that's healing, whether that's growth oriented, you need to be clear with yourself. You need to be clear with your boundaries, and you need to not be afraid of taking time for rest. There could be an aspect of this particular collective that in your past, when it came to romantic relationships, perhaps you would have a tendency to kind of spend 24/7 together. You would go from 0 to 100 really quickly. And I feel like that was coming from codependency. It was coming from a bit of a pattern from your past relationship trauma or even childhood that made you feel if you weren't with your partner 24/7, if you weren't eating, breathing, surviving together, then the relationship wasn't going to work. And I feel like this is a pattern that this connection is actually meant to teach this collective, which is making me lean more towards this is definitely love-based versus lust. But I do feel like there is a lot of anxiety that this collective has about this connection. You have a lot of fear surrounding if this is for you, if it's going to work out, if it's going to go in the right direction. And while all of those fears are valid, Spirit's saying there's literally nothing you can do about those right now. So whether or not this relationship is the one, whether or not it's going to withstand the length of time, shouldn't be something you fixate on or waste your energy on. What they want you to do is kind of take a leap of faith into this. They want you to experience it to its full potential, especially for those of you that have had a lot of traumatic or unhealthy relationships in your past. I feel like this particular collective, you've had a lot of toxic connections. You've had a lot of toxic love. You've had a lot of one-sided energy. And this is the first relationship that seems a little bit more equal, but that's really triggering in a different way. And I feel like what Spirit's saying here is instead of allowing this anxiety, this fear to kind of eat you alive, instead of hiding from this, because they're really pulling me to how this woman is hiding here, instead of hiding from this, be honest with yourself, be honest with your partner, take more time for you. You don't need to spend 24/7 with someone. And then most importantly, leap into this with comfort and trust. Don't be afraid to Open up. I'm telling y'all, some of you are really afraid of like history repeating itself when it comes to love. You're really afraid of the idea that you're going to fall into another codependent relationship. You're afraid of your patterns resurfacing. There's a lot of fear in this particular group, and I feel like this fear is creating a lot of conflict because you have the Five of Swords as your overall bottom of the deck energy for this one, and I feel like that is coming from a part of you that's actually asking to be acknowledged. So instead of stifling that fear, instead of feeding into that fear, I want you to challenge it. Like, they just showed me a visual of this group turning around and looking right at it and being like, okay, but what if that does happen? So example, what if this relationship doesn't work out? What if this person hurts you? What if you guys break up? What if they cheat on you? What if XYZ, okay? Ask yourself what actually will happen from that. And I feel like there's going to be a shift in your energy and your mindset once you challenge these thoughts. It's almost like this collective needs to challenge the negative narratives that are surfacing in their mind. I honestly kind of feel like, and this is going to sound really silly, but I kind of feel like your mind is a bit of an asshole right now, and it's kind of trying to play tricks on you into convincing you that things are not the way they seem. And I feel like this is coming from a pattern of trauma that you have experienced in relationships. So Spirit's saying there's a part of you that's starting to convince yourself that this is a lust-based connection. That's why you're watching this video, BTW, when you know in your heart of hearts that this connection is actually divine. It's divinely guided. It's meant to teach you something. It's meant to help you to grow and experience life. And one of the things that I feel really called to mention, if that's what this relationship is and it's not meant to be more than that, then that's okay. So like for some of you, I feel like there's a little gentle reminder here that dating is supposed to be fun, first of all, and you do not need to put so much emphasis on your relationship, because the reality is whether or not someone is the one for you, that takes time to figure out. And I know that fucking sucks, okay? But Spirit's basically saying to this collective, your need to know whether this is your forever person is coming from your trauma. It's coming from an attachment wound, and it's coming from parts of your life where you were abandoned, which does align quite well with today's Patreon reading, because there was a pretty big emphasis on needing to let go of an abandonment wound. So I feel like this particular collective, you need to start challenging these thoughts in your head instead of allowing them to kind of eat you alive. And one of the things they really want me to mention is you do not need to know if this is your forever person. If it's your forever person, that will work itself out. And if it's not your forever person, it doesn't need to be traumatic. Okay, that's the biggest takeaway. For a lot of you, I feel like this relationship is deeply healing. It's going to heal you on a fundamental level when it comes to trauma, when it comes to past relationship, etc. But I feel like in order for that to truly unfold, you need to leap into it. You need to open up to this connection and recognize that not everything is going to hurt you, is what I'm hearing. So we're going to go back into the Oracle now. We have trying to make better choices, not hearing your shit, and then we also have you see me and I see you. So the not hearing your shit card is really giving me an emphasis on boundaries. And then we also have this one that just flipped over. It says that toxic lover is raising your blood pressure. This is what I mean. I feel like some of you either, there's two sides of this collective. One, there is a person from your past who you had a really traumatic experience with that is actually causing you to overanalyze the connection that you're currently standing in. Two, some of y'all need to pick a second pile, because this is the kind of, I don't know how else to explain this, but there's a relationship that you are currently in the process of detaching from, and the one that is actually for you is this energy here. So there could be another pile that you're drawn to. Take it however it resonates, of course, but I feel like this energy overall is the kind of vibration that this collective needs to stand in. But do so in a gentle and kind way. Like, you don't need to bulldoze people. You don't need to be mean. You don't need to be vindictive. You can be firm in your boundaries without being rude about it. And I feel like this is exactly what this collective is starting to learn. And like, I'm telling you, whatever relationship this is that you're inquiring about, this could even be a friend for some of you, because not everything is romantic, okay? But whatever this connection is, I'm telling y'all are meant to heal each other, because this you see me and I see you energy is really giving me this vibration that like you and this person understand each other on a level that the average individual doesn't. And I feel like there's something about that that is deeply, deeply healing for both of you. So it's likely that you both have some trauma in relationships. I do feel really called to kind of mention a little bit of a warning here. Spirit saying this collective needs to be mindful about their tongue. You can be a little mean, okay? And because you have that coldness about you when you feel emotionally charged. There could be a part of you that has a tendency to kind of project, and Spirit's saying this isn't going to be beneficial in this relationship. And a lot of you are in this position, like the trying to make healthier choices is also about your emotional regulation. So perhaps there's something about when you and your partner, or when you and this individual have a disagreement or an argument, maybe what you need to do is walk away instead of, you know, allow the heatedness to kind of fester. Maybe you need to say to your partner, I love you, or I care about you, whatever, but I need a moment to kind of recalibrate. We do also have an ending coming out here. And again, remember I said, like, for some of you, this is past energy. Others of you, there's a second pile that you're going to be drawn to. Yeah, we have time to come out of your shell. I'm telling y'all, this relationship is incredibly healing, but you have to let go of whatever this was. I feel like a lot of you are, like, they're showing me a ghost in my mind's eye, and I don't know how else to explain this, but like a lot of you are haunted by a past connection. You're haunted by an ending that you experienced that honestly I am hearing traumatize you. So it causes you to kind of look at every romantic relationship in the perspective of like side-eyeing the universe almost. There's a part of you that kind of goes, but is this real? But are you authentic? But are you being honest with me? And I feel like that's coming from betrayal. It's coming from periods of your life where people would not be fully honest and open with you. And I feel like there's a part of you that's projecting that into your current connection. So Spirit's saying, instead of allowing this ending to continue to kind of, they're showing me like sinking sand. Instead of allowing it to cause you to sink, it's time for you to get out of your comfort zone. It's time for you to express yourself and be honest with your partner and say, I don't like when you do these things because it makes me feel like this. And then be open to receiving what they have to say back to you. I feel like there's something about communication that could be a pretty big blockage in this relationship, but it's only a blockage if the two of you allow it. So if the two of you start opening up and communicating with one another in a bit of a healthier way, I feel like there's a potential for this to move in a positive direction. We also have love how you maintain yourself. There could be something about your self-care that is important. This person really admires the love that you hold within. Something about like cuticle care could be important, specifically on your feet. Yeah, we also have time to change things up. It could be time for this group to like shift their life in a new direction. Maybe it's time to try a new hobby. Maybe it's time to pop out, if you will, because they're pulling me back to that, like, step out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's time for you to go somewhere new. Maybe it's like time to, I don't know, take it however it resonates. It's going to be different for each one of you, but there's something about how you need to shift your routine a little bit, because I feel like for some you're kind of stuck in a bit of a rut. And that rut energy is not only attributing to like some boredom, but it's also causing you to kind of project onto your relationship. And I feel like there's something about stepping out of your shell and out of your comfort zone that's going to help you to feel, first and foremost, more alive. And also, secondly, it's going to help this relationship move forward. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, I feel like this is, I don't want to say this because like these aren't collective, but for a lot of you, this is your person, okay? And once you let go of needing to know whether this is the one, whether this is going to go the distance, that's when you're going to start to see proof of that. But I want to remind you guys, like, relationships take work, okay? Like, no relationship is going to be perfect. No relationship is going to be hunky-dory. But if you're willing to put in the effort and your partner's willing to match that effort, the connections can be beautiful. And I feel like this one is no exception. It's like, if you and your partner start to kind of express yourself to one another, you open up to one another, you start to kind of put things in motion emotionally, I feel like this has the potential to go towards a marriage. So to answer the title's question, this is definitely a love pile. This is someone that you have real, authentic, pure-hearted love with. And again, I do feel like I'm hearing kindred spirits, which can be soulmate level energy. This is someone that you are destined to at least be with at some point in your life. For a lot of you, I do feel like this has to do with like a high level commitment. If you're not interested in the idea of marriage, this is just like a lifetime, okay? Something about my fellow Torontians, that's not a word, but we're making it one. My fellow Toronto people, there could be something about the GO train. I don't know. Meeting someone on the go. It could also be meeting someone on the go. I just saw like walking through New York City. Or maybe like you met this person traveling, or maybe you're gonna meet them while you're traveling. Maybe you met them while you're on like the journey of like taking better care of yourself, or you're gonna be. And I feel like something about this relationship is shaking up both of your worlds in a really positive way. They're showing me like a really shy, a really timid, like golden retriever, black cat kind of vibes. I hate that concept, but like there could be something about that kind of dynamic. Like maybe this person's more of a golden retriever and you're more of a black cat. Take that how it resonates. This person could be a student. They could be studying. They could be in school. I'm also seeing something about like your own business. I don't know. And then we have I thought about you today. So those of you that haven't met this person yet, because I am kind of seeing a divide in this collective, some of you are already in this relationship. Others of you have not met this person, but you were drawn to this pile. Those of you that have not met this person, but were drawn to this pile, when it says I thought about you today, this is someone who was thinking about what their potential partner is going to look like. And maybe this was you. Maybe you're sitting there reminiscing going, I wonder who the man I'm going to, or the woman I'm going to be, or the person I'm going to be with. I wonder what they're like. I wonder what they look like. I wonder what they do for a living. It's whoever was feeling this was thinking that process. Now, for others of you that are in a relationship, you cross this person's mind in a really positive way. I don't know how else to explain it, but like, again, there's like some deep, deep inner child healing in this group. And honestly, maybe that's part of what you're meant to teach each other, is healing an element of the inner child. Traditionally, butterflies are symbolisms of like transformation and change. But for some reason today, I'm actually feeling like childlike wonder off of that. They're also showing me something about the butterfly, like a butterfly exhibit or like a museum, like going somewhere where they have like butterflies and they like tend to them. I don't know. We also have unplug for a bit. Some words taking a little bit of a social media break. Maybe you need to get off the internet, become less chronically online, if you will. I am also sensing like some of you, yeah, you need to get back in tune with your higher self. Something about like buying an old school iPod. Honestly, would love if I could find a really good one. Just saying. Something about disconnecting. Like, I honestly feel like some of you use your phone for everything, which of course 90% of us do. But like your music is on your phone, etc. And I feel like there's something about going back old school route that could be helpful for you to kind of disconnect from the internet for a little while, just to kind of recalibrate your energy. And I'm not saying you need to do this forever. Like, you can still watch long form content, or, you know, you can allot yourself a certain amount of time on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. But I feel like you need to be more mindful about how much online you are. Okay. I feel like being more present in your current life is actually going to really help not only you, but this relationship. Anyway, my lovelies, I hope that helps whoever this was meant for. If this did not resonate, or if you're still stuck with a cycle with that toxic ex, maybe choose a different pile. I don't know. I love you, and I will catch y'all whenever I catch you next. Hello, my lovelies. This is for those of you that chose pile number 2, or you were drawn to the Wild Unknown Tarot. I am just going to put this out here, right now. There is a weird energy for this collective that I feel like you do need to acknowledge. So the first thing I want to mention, this particular tarot deck, to me, it's a really big omen of a need for shadow work. There could be something correlating towards your shadow that needs to be acknowledged. Maybe there's something about a karmic relationship that you're a bit stuck in. I don't know. Please take it how it resonates for you. If that doesn't resonate or it triggers you, then I would, first of all, if it triggers you, I would advise that you go inward about why. But if it doesn't resonate, maybe choose a different pile, okay? Second thing I want to mention, this is my evil eye oracle, which obviously does indicate some evil eye energy. So for some, I feel like whoever this is that you're involved with, I do feel like there is some unnecessary envy being sent your way from this person. They're envious of you. For some of you, I just saw like a dollar sign in my mind's eye. So like this could be someone who's envious of the finances that you have, or the career that you're in, or the life that you're living. I am hearing because it was all just handed to you, which actually isn't true. Like, I feel like you worked really hard to get to where you are financially, mentally, and emotionally. But whoever this is almost like a stop along the way to finding your person. I feel like I'm honestly sensing this is more of a lust-based relationship than anything. This is someone that came into your life to show you some sort of lesson of self-discovery and your own worth. Not the death card here too. And I feel like that's exactly what's unfolding. Like, you would not be still here watching this if you were still attached to this person. So I feel like you're either on the out, they just showed me a visual of having like one foot out the door, or you're in the process of recognizing that needs to happen, or you've already detached completely, and this is just confirmation that you made the right decision. We also have the Queen of Wands poking out here too. Interesting. All right, so we're going to pull from the tarot, and then we will use the tarot after. The oracle after. The way that flew out. Yeah, like, I don't know how else to explain this, but this particular individual, whoever you are connected to in a romantic sense, this is someone who tried to perceive themselves to be very kind, very considerate. Like, this person has big charm, okay? Like, big charm appeal is what I just heard, which makes no sense, but I'm sure it will for those it's meant for. Basically, this individual It's like, have you ever seen those videos or those posts online where it's like everybody loves this person, but like your intuition knew? It's giving that. It's giving someone, like they keep showing me Gaston from like Beauty and the Beast. It's giving someone that's very charming, very confident, very charismatic, but I feel like that's a facade. Like I don't feel like that's actually who they are. Interesting. Traditionally speaking, like the Knight of Cups is someone very romantic, someone very emotionally open, someone very dreamy, if you will. And I think that there's a reason I'm picking up on such a, like a, I don't know how else to explain it, but like an immature energy. I feel like for some of you, it's not quite as extreme, okay, as others. So please remember these are collective. You need to take whatever resonates and leave what doesn't, okay? So for a small group or a big group, whatever, for a part of this collective, there is an element of this relationship and this person that it's more coming from immaturity issues than it is from, you know, vindictiveness. Like I don't necessarily feel like this person for all of you is a bad person. I just feel like they have not done any of their work. They haven't done any healing. They haven't acknowledged any parts of their shadow. And I feel like this group is starting, yeah, literally these two are really pulling me in. I feel like this group is starting to see that, especially with this Hierophant in the reverse position. There could also be something about like religious trauma here. For some of you, this person could be Christian, they could be Catholic, and maybe, you know, like you thought that you guys could make it work. And now you're starting to realize that that's just not the case. I don't know. It's interesting that the devil has made an appearance in both piles so far, because the devil is quite literally an indication of lust. And for some reason, like the entire time, I've just been pulled to this imagery of temperance where like the bird's like crying onto this fire. It's really kind of giving me that's how you felt. Like, I feel like this person presented themselves in a really good way in the beginning. So they showed up, hello, as this Knight of Cups. Someone very confident and charismatic. Someone very, you know, I'm not afraid to like put myself out there kind of energy. But like I already said, I feel like this was a facade. So I feel like over time, you started to see that the opposite was actually true. You started to see that this person's actually pretty toxic. They have really unhealthy habits. Maybe you started to see the codependency in this dynamic. Honestly, some of you could have come from pile one, and this could be the past relationship that you had that is still affecting your present. Others of you, remember how I said in pile one, there was like two sides. One side, you were in a new relationship that was very beautiful and very wonderful and has the potential to go the distance, but there's trauma from a past connection that's causing you to doubt that. And then there was another side of the group that's still in that traumatic relationship, and there is a beautiful connection that wants to open up and come forward once you've done some healing, but you're stuck in the cycle. And I said that collective was going to choose another pile. They're showing me that. So for some of you, you're kind of stuck in an in-between state. And like, honestly, for some, it's just emotionally, but for others, you're still stuck in the cycle with the person. I don't know, take it however it resonates. I'm also, I don't know why I just heard something about like the wrath of God. Take that however it resonates, of course. Temperance is also my divine timing card. It's also like obviously a huge indication of needing balance. So because this is in the upright position, I honestly feel like with the energy that we're picking up on here, part of what's shifted is this collective. You're starting to find balance within yourself. You're starting to regulate your emotions, maybe even your nervous system, I just heard. You're starting to challenge things that don't make sense, is what I'm hearing. And I feel like because you have this Hierophant in the reverse position, there's something about reassessing the position that you're currently in. So in this context, you would be reassessing the relationship. And I feel like part of why this is upright versus reversed is because this collective, as you're reassessing this dynamic, you're actually starting to notice the truth. You're noticing the toxicity. You're noticing like the intensity of it. And remember how I was pulled to like the crying on top of the fire? This is giving the passion is fizzling. Because the reality is when you get yourself into a lust-based relationship or when there's a lot of passion in the beginning of a connection, that only goes so far. It can't withstand a long period. And I'm not saying that's always the case, but oftentimes connections that start off from 0 to 100, first and foremost, are usually codependent. And secondly, they tend to fizzle out over time. And I kind of feel like this collective has been like almost like crying on top of like your fire, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's internal versus external too. Like there's an element of this relationship that has caused you to not feel passionate about your life anymore. You don't feel passionate about yourself. You don't feel beautiful. You don't feel confident. And I feel like that is coming from the unhealthy aspect here. I'm not saying that this person's doing this on purpose, and I really want to reiterate that, because it doesn't feel malicious. It doesn't feel intentional. It just feels like this is one of those codependent relationships that takes a toll on you emotionally because you lose yourself in it. And I feel for a lot of you, you're in a process where you're really trying to let go. You're trying to break old cycles. So this is bringing me back to that message in part 1 where I talked about there is something tying into an old tradition, an old energy. I don't know how else to explain that. I feel like for a lot of you, that's where this past relationship trauma is still affecting you. So for some, remember, this is collective again. Like for some of you, this is a past connection that is actually still haunting you. They're showing me that ghost that I saw in pile number 1. So I feel like for a lot of you, there is a connection that was very codependent. It was very unhealthy. There was a lot of unhealthy attachments, a lot of addictions, a lot of, I'm hearing the word trauma bond. This was a connection that took a toll on you physically and emotionally. And I feel like this particular collective is trying to break out of that, mindset and that relationship, literally, as I said, that mindset. But there's something holding you back. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, you're still holding on to some sort of pain here. And I feel like no matter how much energy and effort you put into this, there's something that's like pulling you backwards. It's like, they're showing me like, specifically Bart Simpson, but okay. They're showing me like a slingshot. It's almost like you keep being pulled back into this old narrative, into this old wound. And honestly, for a lot of you, it's because Spirit's trying to force you to face it. They're trying to force you to unpack it, to feel it, to heal it, if you will. I'm sure a lot of y'all, if you are new here, welcome. I love new people. But if you aren't new, you've probably heard me say that before. Like, you truly have to feel it in order to heal it. And notice how there's a butterfly on this card as well. It's not quite open or anything, but this is confirmation to me that I feel like a lot of you are currently in this period of unpacking something. This also is a really big omen that this is a lust-based relationship, like point blank period. This is not someone that you are going to have a long-term love with. This is not someone who you could really grow with. I feel like, honestly, for the majority of this collective, a lot of damage has been done emotionally in this relationship, and it's time for you to throw in the towel if you haven't already. Something about a public service announcement. I have no idea what that means, but okay. But like the 8 of Swords, the one thing they really want me to mention, there's 2 things now that's coming through. Something about entrapment. I don't know. Take that however it resonates. But what they really want me to point out with 8 of Swords energy, sometimes it's actually manifesting to show us where our victim mentality is keeping us stuck. And I feel like for some of y'all, there is an element of like self-loathing is what I just heard, or self-sabotage. There's an element of fear that's keeping you stuck in denial. It's keeping you stuck in a deceptive cycle, and it's because you're clinging to this pain. Honestly, for a lot of you, I feel like it's because this is familiar. This is what makes sense, because this is what you've experienced. And putting yourself into a new connection or a healthy relationship is triggering in a different perspective. But there's a part of you that kind of needs to take a step back and ask yourself, where am I denying my truth? Where am I denying myself? What part of me is staying stuck in a toxic cycle, and what do I need to do to let go of that? There's something about being in denial about something. Take that however it resonates. Perhaps some of you are in denial about the reality of this relationship, or that it's over, I just heard. Because the 10 of Swords is like even more indication of exhaustion. Like a lot of you are ready to give up. You're ready to throw in the towel. You don't want to do it anymore, is what I'm hearing. And that's valid and real, but I feel like you need to ask yourself, what is keeping you here? What is keeping you stuck? And they immediately just pull me to the devil. So, what's keeping you here, what's keeping you stuck, has a lot to do with your shadow side. So the devil can speak of our obsessions. It can speak of indulgence and addictions and attachments, materialism, fear, greed, ego, like you name it, that comes off the devil. So I feel like some of you need to dig a little bit deeper into that part of your own self, because I'm sure y'all have heard me say this before as well. Accountability is truly how you heal. So not only do you need to feel it to heal it, you have to take accountability to grow from it. I'm honestly hearing to outgrow it. So like maybe there's a part of you that needs to own the pieces of the toxicity that you hold, because no toxic relationship has one perfect person. Like never. At least not in my experience. All right, what else do we have for this particular collective? Is it lust or love? What did I say? I'm so psychic, sometimes I freak myself out. That literally says victim mentality. I love you despite the obstacles, childhood trauma, PTSD, and Stockholm Syndrome. Honestly, some of you were taught at a young age, whether this I'm being pulled to the Stockholm Syndrome aspect, but some of you were taught at a really, really young age that your loyalty was the only way you were going to feel love. So you had a parent who conditioned you to believe that love was conditional. And if you didn't do X, Y, Z, you weren't going to be loved. So there's a part of that wounded inner child that puts yourself in this position where you're like, you can do anything to me and I'm still going to love you, because you think that's what devotion looks like. But I feel like part of what, if they're showing me like removing of a blindfold or like taking off some sunglasses, whatever, there's something about how part of the realization you're starting to have within yourself is recognizing that that is actually how you create codependency. That's how you create a pattern in relationships where one of you is above the other. And I feel like one of the biggest takeaways here is because this group is finally unpacking childhood trauma. You're unpacking the need to be loved and where that desire comes from. And as you're doing that, you're recognizing that first and foremost, some of you might even have CPTSD or PTSD. You definitely have childhood trauma. And I feel like part of that childhood trauma is definitely connected to one of your parents. And I feel like you are shifting out of that. You're recognizing that you don't need to tolerate being cheated on 16 times to prove that you love someone. You don't need to tolerate being, thrown around or treated like shit or emotionally abused. You don't need to tolerate shitty, toxic behavior just to feel loved. And I feel like some of you have been stuck in a bit of a cycle that can come with, where it comes to like a dopamine rush is really all I know how to describe it. But it's when you're in those relationships where there's lows and there's highs, but the highs are so high that it makes you stay invested. And I feel like for a lot of you, when this person shows you that they love you, when they start to display that love, there's an element of you that clings to it. And that clinging is actually what's keeping you stuck in this cycle. I feel a really big shift is happening for you though. Like if you're still watching this, this is a huge omen to me that you're ready to break this cycle. They just showed me chains breaking in my mind's eye. They're also encouraging you. This card came out as well, which I'll show you guys a little bit more clearly. Focus on you. Don't worry about them. 444 on the timer. Confirmation. Yeah, I feel like we have skeletons in the closet. I hate when this song comes through because Eminem himself has actually openly said he doesn't really like when this song plays on the radio anymore. But I did just hear cleaning out my closet. Maybe it's more metaphorical for some of you. Maybe you're in this position where you're starting to kind of clean out your closet. We also have testing needed. Some of you need to get tested for a mental health issue. This could be ADHD. It could be... I'm hearing like bipolar, BPD. Some of you, this could be manic episodes is what I just heard. There's just something about like, this is more mental health related, or even health related. Take it however it resonates, but there's maybe even PTSD. Like maybe some of you need a diagnosis for that in order to feel more secure within yourself, or autism. I also just heard. Whatever the diagnosis is, I feel like some of y'all have already kind of had a hankling about this, and it's just time for you to get the ball rolling in that. In my personal experience, when I was properly diagnosed with ADHD, it made me feel much more validated in myself. And it also helped me understand myself a little bit more. Did it trigger me at first? Abso-fucking-lutely. But it's one of those things that you have to learn in order to actually establish who you are. So like maybe some of you have always had this idea, not the sun getting brighter as I said that. Maybe some of you have always had this idea that you have some sort of mental health struggle, but you've never had confirmation from a doctor. And I feel like that's what you need to do. So my recommendation to this collective, first and foremost, if you're still in this relationship, find a way to get out of it. Okay. My second recommendation for this collective, go to your family doctor, because you do need to have a family doctor to do this. Go to your family doctor, tell them you want to get tested by a psychologist for whatever mental health issue you think you're having, and ask them for a referral. Okay? And then see what they say. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We also have, how can I mend your broken heart? This is spirit. This is spirit. This is your higher self. This is your spiritual team. They're showing me like a grandmother figure here. Some of you could have lost your grandmother, maybe at a young age too. I don't know. There's just a feminine energy that really wants to help you through whatever you're experiencing. For others of you, this could be your mother. I want you to take it however it aligns. For the majority of you, though, I do feel like this is a grandmother on your maternal side is what I just heard. Okay. What did I say about ex-partner affecting the connection? Some of y'all need to let go of your past relationship. Those are the skeletons in your closet, okay? Others of you, as I was saying, there's like a grandmother figure who wants to help you heal. They want you to help you through this. And I do feel like if you pray to them or if you start communicating with them, not only are you going to start to see signs from them directly, but you're also going to start to see what direction you need to go in order to heal these things. Let's get a couple more for this collective. Yeah, with the health concern, I really do feel like part of this testing needed, like there's a really big emphasis on getting yourself in order mentally or even physically. Like maybe there's a health issue that you have to face. I did just see like asthma for some of you. There's something that you have struggled with for the majority of your life that Spirit's kind of like pushing you towards dealing with at this time before it gets worse, is what I just heard. We also have stop being paranoid and projecting your issues. Some of y'all could be projecting your trauma onto other people around you, especially with that victim mentality. I kind of feel like there's an element of you that needs to kind of own up to the parts of you that aren't great, okay? Like you need to own up to where you might be projecting your trauma or your insecurities onto other people. And more importantly, you need to acknowledge the paranoia that you could be living in. Now, this is a really specific message and it's not going to resonate with everyone, but if you smoke the devil's lettuce, because YouTube, I don't know what I can and can't say. If you smoke that, I recommend putting it down, because part of the reason you're feeling paranoid, part of the reason you are stuck in a fear-based cycle is because of it, okay? Like it will trigger that in people. We also have Kiss Me Softly and surprises in store for you. Keep going. So I really do feel like some of you, if you do smoke, I would recommend quitting. This is probably something you've already been kind of contemplating doing because it's not helping your mental health first and foremost. And secondly, I kind of feel like for some of y'all, it's a bit of a band-aid to avoid whatever mental health stuff you have going on that we've been touching on. And lastly, it's making you paranoid. And that is just the simplest way. Like some of you might even find yourself going into manic episodes because you're smoking too much, okay? And I'm not talking a tolerance break. I literally think this collective needs to quit. Personally, this happened to me in my own life experience. I'm going to share it with you guys. Smoking weed started to make me really paranoid. It started to make me really, like questioning everything and everyone, etc. And putting it down brought me so much more clarity that I can't even begin to explain to you. And now I'm at a point with it where I can indulge occasionally and not fall into a paranoid cycle. So perhaps that's what this collective needs to do. Maybe you need to take a few years off and recognize that getting your mind right is what's going to really help you moving forward. I feel like this group, you need to get away from this relationship and relationships in general. Take some time to be with yourself. I'm hearing no dating. And I feel like during that time, you need to learn who you are. And it's going to help you attract the kind of relationship that you want. Others of you, there is a relationship from your past that you need to release. It's just that simple, okay? Something about 2021 could be important for this group as well. Anyway, that's what I have for this collective. I hope that helps whoever it was for. I love you, and just know that it will get easier. Hello, y'all. This is for those of you that chose pile number 3, or you were drawn to the Spicy Tarot deck. Now, I don't know how much YouTube censors, so I'm gonna do my best not to show the cards because I don't want the whole video to get taken down or anything like that. But these cards are actually really easily able to find online if you guys want to. You can search them up on Google. The card itself, I have my Amazon link down there for the decks that I'm using today, so that one should be in the description box if you want to just grab the name and then look up, the cards that come through. If you want to see the images, you can do it that way. Excuse me, you do not have to, of course, but anyway, this one obviously is very spicy. That does not mean it's less space. We won't know until we get into it. But if you're drawn to the Spicy Tarot deck, then obviously this is a very smeggerly healing connection, which just made me start channeling another song. I already got a song for y'all. It's 2:22 p.m. where I live. I already got a song for you guys called Find My Way, and I think it's by DaBaby or something like that. I haven't heard it in forever. The songs are also in the description box below. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to organize them by pile or if I'm just going to put them all together, but you'll be able to find them down there regardless, okay? And then the other one I just started channeling was Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye, because of course I was, which just brought through the other one. Let's Marvin Gaye and get it on. Anyway, so yeah. I also want to remind this collective, it's okay to have spicy connections. It's okay to get freaky. Like sex is not a bad thing. Christianity and religion make it into a bad thing, which I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately about stuff, but interesting. Okay. So this relationship, in short, you gotta be very careful. I do feel like because you have this, like, I'm sure y'all saw how that came out. So, like, this is the devil and it's in the reverse, like, it's inverted. Okay, so this is not quite upright. It's not quite reversed. Also, all 3 piles today literally got the devil so far. So that's kind of crazy. Then we also have the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands is more like the 10 of Burdens to me. It's more like this is a heavy thing that I'm carrying, if that makes sense. So I feel like because we have that devil coming up inverted, and then we have the 5 of Swords. Because we have that devil coming up inverted and the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, with this 10 of Wands energy, there is a bit of a message here to be really mindful because this connection has the potential to turn really toxic. It has the potential to turn into something more sexual in nature. Honestly, I would not be surprised if this was my collective that was inquiring about someone that you have a spicy connection with, like friends with benefits, situationship, whatever y'all want to label it now. I feel like this is someone that you have a spicy connection. You are likely intimate with this person. And I do feel like the spice is off the charts. But I also feel like there's something about this connection that does burden you. And I feel like you need to be honest with yourself about that instead of kind of living in denial. Interesting. Which just made me think of that other song, like, your love is toxic. Sometimes when the devil shows up in the reverse position, it can indicate you're stuck in a situation with no real way out, which for some of you could be feeling like really burdensome. I don't know. I felt the need to mention that for a reason, but like most of the time when the devil shows up reversed, I actually take that as an omen that like you're breaking a cycle. You're releasing limiting beliefs, you're exploring those negative thoughts, and you're mastering the art of detachment. But because we have these 2 conflicting cards over here, I kind of feel like for some of y'all, there is something you need to face. I don't know. So sometimes when I get a card like this, I will throw it and see if it's upright or reverse. So Spirit, is this upright or reverse for my collective? Upright. Okay. This person could have a big you-know-whaty. I don't know. For those of you that this is a woman, they could have a really big toy too. Please remember that, okay? I do kind of sense this is more spicy than love. I also am being guided to mention for this particular collective, there might be a need to kind of unpack some sort of a sex addiction. This could be you. This could be the person you're connected to. Take it however it resonates, of course. And I still can't get over the fact that the devil has popped up in literally all piles today. I'm going to pull a couple more cards here. I think I'm going to pull 3 more. And then we're going to see what they all have to say. Also something about lavender, which came through in pile number 1 as well. Okay. So at the bottom of the deck, we have that 3 of Cups, which as y'all could tell is very freaky. 3 of Pentacles, the Magician. Now, most of the time when it comes to this particular tarot deck, I actually read it based off of the imagery versus the cards' meanings, which you should be doing for most of the cards anyway, but this one especially. So I kind of feel like for this particular group, I'm just going to put this over here so y'all can still see it. For this particular group, I do feel like this person's very enamored by you. They're very, like, you have a very magnetic energy. Y'all are very... First of all, you're beautiful, whoever you are, okay? Like, you are very attractive in a conventional sense, and I feel like this is someone who is very drawn to you. Like, they're very attracted to you, which is likely why there's so much passion and there's so much, you know, good spice. This is really interesting because I don't feel any negative energy here. Like, the last pile, I could feel it. This one, not so much. Like, this one's kind of neutral. Something about like public freaky sessions. I don't know. There's something about that 10 of Wands image that's really making me think like maybe getting it on in public could be important. Something about your back muscles. There's a lot of raw desire here, like point blank, okay? For some of you, I honestly feel like there's something about this connection that helps you with your own personal power, with your own manifestation abilities, with kind of drawing in what it is that you want in your life. They're showing me like ripping of clothing, like there's like that level of passion. Something about witchcraft could be important, especially like if you know, you know. I'm talking about like magic. There could be something about sexual magic. I'm also hearing something about raw sexuality. Honestly, I do kind of feel like this is lust, y'all. It's hard not to. It's really hard not to. Like, relationships that are built on a foundation of love, do they have spicy stuff? For sure. But that's not the entire relationship. And I feel like whoever this is for, I really keep leaning more towards, like, this is a spicy connection. Like, I'm hearing no strings attached, friends with benefits. This is someone that you have a sexual relationship with, which is not a bad thing, okay? If you're having fun, then fucking do it. But, like, I feel like some of you are watching this because you're starting to gain feelings, you're starting to have some attachment towards this person, and I don't really feel like it's ever going to evolve to more than sexual, unfortunately. Something about, like, primal lust. I don't know how else to explain this, but they're showing me, like, animal level, like attraction, like animal level, like lust, okay? Which is beautiful in the moment, passion-wise. But first of all, I think I said this in pile 1, like, that fizzles. This level of lust eventually fades. And it goes in one of two directions. It fades into something that is no longer existent, or it fades into something codependent. So I do feel like this collective is kind of being warned of codependency here. Honestly, it might be better for you and this person to be friends than invest further. I also am kind of sensing this is someone who's very in and out. So I kind of, immediate innuendo. I'm kind of sensing this is someone who has a tendency to come into your life really hot and heavy, especially when they're feeling spicy. This person comes in, they might even love bomb you a little bit. They say all the right things. They act like they're going to make, you know, an effort in the connection, especially for those of you that have cut this person off because you want something more. They'll pop back up and be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I do want that, or maybe I want XYZ, or, you know, maybe this and this, but really they just want to fix. I keep seeing, like, the devil-faced emoji in my mind's eye, too. Again, something about your back muscles could be important. I feel like this is definitely lust. This is, like, lust or obsession. It's ego. It's not healthy, okay? At the end of the day, this is not a healthy love. I'm just gonna say it like it is, and I know that a lot of y'all don't want to hear that. I love you, okay? But I feel like this connection burns you out. I feel like there's a lot of conflict, and, like, this feels like more internal conflict than external, but, like, the Five of Swords being here, it really does also kind of indicate that there could be some conflict in this relationship. Like, I honestly feel like this is a toxic relationship. I feel like you are stuck in a toxic loop with this person, and part of what keeps pulling you back to it is the spice. Some of y'all are enjoying this cycle, and that's absolutely okay. We all have our past, my love. I am not judging. But I feel like others of you are ready for something real. And I feel like there's something about needing to acknowledge that this is blocking that. Especially because, like, we have the Three of Pentacles and the Magician and then the Seven of Wands. I feel this is Spirit's way of saying, you are manifesting something equal. You are trying to manifest something authentic. You're trying to bring in something that's like a real, true partnership. But this toxic cycle has you stuck. And this manifestation that you're trying to call in is ultimately being blocked by ego. Some of you are also, what's interesting, because like the magician can be the master of his source, right? So some of you are also in this position where you're mastering your desire and your lust for people. And you're recognizing the difference between falling into lust-based relationships because you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt is what I'm hearing, and connections that you actually should invest into. Does that make sense? I asked like any of y'all can answer me. But again, like I really do feel like you're in this position where you want to build in connection. You want intimacy. You want growth. You want a partner. You want an equal. And I feel like you're starting to recognize that when you are pulled to someone's superficial attraction, you just end up in this position. In my lived experience, anytime I was crazy attracted to somebody from the actual get-go was usually because I was lusting after them. And I feel like that's what this collective could be coming to terms with. I have no freaking idea why. I just saw in my mind's eye, I know like a bow and arrow and how like they'll keep the arrows inside this little like tiny little thing that's like circular. Something about that's important. I just saw it in my mind's eye. I'm also being pulled to like a simmer pot. So there could be something about maybe like doing a simmer pot for yourself. Maybe even your home, especially for those of you that just closed out a cycle of lust or a cycle of, you know, situationship level connection. I don't know. I also feel like this particular collective, not only do you want to build a relationship with someone, not only do you want something that's like mutual and worth it, you also want someone who's obsessed with you in the healthy way, okay? And I feel like you want the kind of partner that's not only going to want to grow with you and become a better version with you, you want someone that also worships you. And I feel like this is what you're manifesting, but there's something about needing to master, you know, a skill, needing to master the reality. I don't know. Take that however it resonates. I'm also seeing something about a nipple ring. This could be you. It could be this person that you're walking away from, or a new person. Honestly, those of you that are in the process of detaching from like that toxic cycle, that like on again, off again relationship where you're screaming and yelling and fighting, and then the next minute you're ripping each other's clothes off. Well, that's fun. It gets boring really fast. It gets exhausting. It gets like you get burnt out. You kind of lose yourself. You are letting go of that. And I feel like you're stepping into recognizing what it means to have a healthy connection. And I feel like a big part of that is because you've been doing internal work. But there could be something about needing to kind of unpack something. Especially because in the beginning, like that devil came up inverted, which is definitely telling me that this group is learning something. Yeah, as this education card comes out, I feel like you have been learning. You have been growing. There's something about like a karmic cycle or a karmic lesson that's been learned here. A lot of you are spending more time with yourself. I feel like this is my solo group. I feel like you've been celibate. You have been, you know, going through a journey of self-discovery. You've been healing when it comes to those types of relationships that we've touched on. Literally, you've been surrendering reckless behavior. Literally, as that's crazy. This says reckless self-destruction and deceiving yourself. And it came out with surrender. Relinquish control and allow spirit to take over. I feel like that's exactly what this collective has done. You have recognized your patterns. You've recognized where you can be reckless. You've recognized where you might be rushing, and you've learned how to slow yourself down. You've learned some sort of a lesson here in codependency and lust. I don't know. And again, like, it's like you've mastered some sort of skill here. You also have the Fool. It's time for you to take a chance into a new chapter of your life. It's time for you to take a leap of faith. Yeah, I feel like this collective, your luck is changing for the better because you're not currently in a relationship. You're not currently looking for one. You're just kind of living and healing and unpacking some shit. And I feel like as you're unpacking it, it's helping you to kind of surrender to the changes that are unfolding around you and giving you more abundance. It's like helping you to take a bigger leap of faith. It's helping you to shift into yourself. Honestly, some of you with this luck energy could have money coming forward. Take it how it resonates. But I do feel like you might be tested a little bit first. Especially those of you that did have a bit of a spicy addiction. Those of you that struggled with your own smexuality, whatever. Something about instant gratification. This is the seduction card. I do feel like some sort of temptation is about to pop up for some of y'all where like someone is going to promise you all of these things, but you're going to see right through the bullshit is what I'm hearing. This could even be an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Doesn't necessarily have to be. Hello, that's a lot. We have spring. Then we have walking away. I told you. And then we also have home. So I really feel there is about to be some sort of a test of faith for this collective when it comes to a lust-based relationship, because you are so close to closing out this cycle and attracting a more comfortable, a more healthy kind of love. And I feel like there's someone or something either from your past or someone new coming in, take it how it resonates, who has a mask. They are pretending to be something that they aren't. They're probably really emotionally unavailable. They're not showing their true self. And I feel like you are about to walk away from that. You're about to let this person go and you're going to move on. You're going to leave the past behind you. Because again, like I'm hearing, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Like you're going to see right through this bullshit. So there could be like a legal thing going on here with you. And that's, I don't know, take it how it resonates. Honestly, this is kind of what I'm sensing. Like I kind of feel like this collective in the past, when a relationship would come to an end, when a connection would close, you would immediately jump into a new one. You would rebound like that. And I feel like part of what you are currently recognizing, especially with whatever it is that you are in the process of walking away from, is that pattern is no longer serving you. That pattern only ever makes you fall into lust-based connections. It's like some really deep internal healing is happening for this group that's helping you to recognize the pattern that you had around your sexuality, that's helping you to grow into a more healthy love. So in short, I feel like this collective, if you're actually asking about a person, it was a lust-based connection. If you are, not asking about anyone in general, but you were drawn to this pile, then I feel like this is your confirmation that the work that you have been doing on yourself is not in vain. Especially with this home energy being like the last oracle card we have. This is all about comfort. It's about finding more security within yourself. It's about feeling a sense of happiness and safety. I honestly feel like a lot of you, the more you surrender, the more confidence you gain in your future. Something about the spring could have shifted some things. Honestly, maybe some of y'all are a spring baby. Ouch. I'm seeing the month of April. Something about basketball could be important. Others of you, like, it could have just been the spring that you started to really shift and transform and kind of recognize truth. I don't know. Take it however it aligns. But that's what I have for this pile. I hope that helps whoever it was meant for, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hello, this is for those of you that chose pile number 4, or you were drawn to my Greek mythology tarot deck. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive right into this. This one, it's interesting. I expected this one to be the one that was like non-committal or like not, in a relationship or anything, or like not looking for love. But apparently not. That was the last one. Also, I just saw in my mind's eye a rune. I will pull up its meaning in a moment. I can never remember the name of them. Like, I think it's the MANNA one, but I want to confirm that. Something about self-care. I'm seeing like the witch's self-care book. I almost just said oracle deck, but ooh, okay. Don't love that. I'm not going to say that this is lust, but I'm not going to say that it's love either, but I am going to say that whoever this is ain't shit. Literally, the devil was in every single pile today. That's insane. So we have the 8 of Cups and the devil, okay, as the bottom of the deck energy. So the devil is Hades in this particular deck, and this one is Charon. And then we also have the 10 of Wands. So technically the devil didn't fully make an appearance in this pile, which is good, I guess. But, yeah, I don't like this person. I don't like this energy. It's giving ick. That's what I just heard. So, you do have the 7 of Swords in, like, the dead center of this reading, y'all. And that's kind of why I don't love it. We also have, the Death card coming through. There is an ending here. Like, either you have already walked away from this person, or you're in the process, or you've been contemplating it. Ick. Sorry, I was incorrect about the name of the rune, by the way. So the one that I'm seeing is the letter M. Maybe this person's initial is an M. The one I had mentioned is an M, but it also has, like, the 2 lines on the sides. But the one that I'm seeing is called EHWAZ. If you want to look that up on your own time, there could be a bit of a message in that one for you. Again, this is for a rune, which it usually, if I'm remembering correctly, symbolizes like change. So I feel like there's something shifting in this collective. Honestly, if I had to hazard a guess, because you have this death card and the Seven of Swords, a lot of y'all have made a decision to leave something. Yeah, as I said, made a decision. I'm holding this, like, the Two of Swords here. And with that Eight of Cups at the bottom of the deck too, I honestly feel like a lot of you have, I'm hearing, removed a blindfold. You're starting to see something for what it is versus what you wanted it to be. Like, you're recognizing that this relationship was more surface level, more superficial in nature, probably more lust-based. They're really pulling me to the aspect here about how, like, both of these images, the man's face is hidden. So I kind of feel two things here. One, I feel like this collective, you were wearing a blindfold. You weren't acknowledging the truth of this relationship. You weren't looking at this person for who they were. This going reverse is symbolic. And two, I feel like this person was perceiving themselves to be something they aren't. Especially with the Seven of Swords here. Like, the Seven of Swords is an omen of manipulation. It means something is not what it seems. It means someone is keeping something from you. There's some sort of deception that's happening. And I do feel like because the Three of Pentacles is right next to it, for some of you this does involve, like, a cheating situation. It's not going to be for everyone, okay? And I don't want this to trigger you. This is not meant... if this triggers you, it's not meant for you, is what I'm being guided to mention. If this triggers you, it's because you need to heal something. Spirit's saying this is for a collective of people that either already know about this person cheating on you, or you have had a strong gut instinct that this has been happening. But there is a big part of this group that is clinging on to this person for dear life, is what I'm hearing. Okay, so the Death card, when it shows up in the reverse position, to me, that's a huge omen that we are resisting some sort of change. We are resisting an inevitable ending that we know needs to happen in order for our own personal growth and transformation. And we're likely doing that out of fear. And I feel like part of this is coming from the aspect of you that's kind of wearing that blindfold. And Spirit's saying in order for you to be able to truly shift forward, you need to kind of acknowledge some truth within yourself. We also have the Nine of Wands, which to me is all about boundaries. It's oftentimes also, I depict it as like a bit of a test of our faith. So I feel like whatever you're currently experiencing, they just showed me the Tower in my mind's eye. So whatever you're currently experiencing, it's testing you in a way that's forcing you to acknowledge truth. It's forcing you to acknowledge what's underneath the surface. I'm hearing what's being kept hidden. It's also interesting that on both these cards, it's depicted as three women, which is giving more, like, I hate this, but this definitely could involve third-party energy. Either you just found out you're the other woman, or you're finding out there's other women. I honestly feel like there's multiple other women or men, take it how it resonates. But you have just recently found out there's other people involved here. Something about the Morgan, the goddess, there could be something about her energy that's important. Very powerful feminine archetype. So what's interesting is you also have this Death card that's going to go on top of those two, Three of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, which is like the women I was seeing, right? There is something that you need to come to terms with. Now, for some of you, this is not a romantic relationship. This could be like a group of friends, and you're starting to recognize that, like, they actually don't have your best interest at heart. Others of you, because this was like a lust-based relationship, it's definitely more leaning towards a connection that you've been in with probably a very conventionally attractive man. I'm seeing like a masculine energy who might be like pretty fit. Like maybe they go to the gym regularly. Maybe they have like a nice set of abs going. They could also have really nice hair, maybe a really nice beard. I don't know. But this is someone who has, like, I'm hearing like they need constant inflation of their ego. So this is someone who has like a slew of people around them feeding into their ego. Honestly, I'm hearing men and women alike. Like, this person does not discriminate. They need constant recognition that they're nice or they're this or they're that in order to feel good about themselves, which is honestly a reflection of that person and not you. But something about the color gold could also be important for this collective. Maybe you should look up its spiritual symbolism. I don't really know a lot about it personally, but I would recommend looking into it. With the Nine of Wands being here, I really do feel like a big part of what this is trying to teach this collective is how to set and maintain healthy boundaries. How to walk away before it becomes overbearing. How to let go of something before it eats you alive. Is literally what I just heard. This is also Thanatos, because this is my Greek mythology deck, right? So each one of these cards is depicted as a different god, goddess, or demigod. So there could be something correlating to any of the ones that I've mentioned today. The Morgan, I don't believe is Greek mythology, but don't quote me. I don't know a lot about her. I do keep seeing a book in my mind's eye that I have done, like we did a live stream on Twitch with it. And of course it's not here. Yes, I see it. Okay, it's called The Dark Goddesses. I will try to remember to put it in the description box for this group. There could be something about connecting with their energy or, you know, with that goddess in general. But I feel like it's interesting because, like, the Two of Swords, traditionally speaking, like, this is this card, right? So the Two of Swords, traditionally speaking, is usually depicted as a woman sitting on a bench. She's got a blindfold. She's not able to see in front of her. But in this imagery, she's, like, readying to fight. She's, like, got a sword behind her. She's ready to cut through the bullshit. She's not blindfolded. She's looking directly. I feel like this is going on top of this for a reason. It's like this collective is finally in this position where you're no longer, you know, stifling your truth. You're no longer denying what you know to be true, what you know to be real. And most importantly, you're no longer afraid of setting these boundaries. Like, I feel like this collective, like, you are ready to fight your way out if you have to. I honestly feel like a lot of you are no longer tolerating being put in this position. For some, this has been a really ongoing cycle with this person. So perhaps you've been dating this person for a substantial amount of time and you keep finding out about infidelity. Others of you, this is something that, you know, it's a cycle or a pattern that you found yourself in repeatedly, and this is like your final straw. I don't know. There's just something about this being like your final straw. Like, I'm seeing a nail in the coffin in my mind's eye. You might have just caught this person doing something really fugazi. And, like, for some of you, this isn't with other people. Like, maybe it's drugs. Maybe it's, like there could be some substance issues. I don't know. Like, for some of you, this actually doesn't have to do with cheating, but it does have to do with lying. So this person hid something from you. And whatever this is either something that they've hidden from you before that you've called them on and said, okay, well, like, in the future, just tell me. Or it's something you've never caught them on, but you have already walked down that path before. Regardless of what this looks like, you are stepping into a position where you're no longer willing to tolerate it. And I feel like because you have, like, honestly, some of you had this person either on a pedestal or you had some, like, rose-colored glasses about this relationship. You're no longer allowing your ego to dictate the reality here. You're recognizing that this person has shown themselves multiple times. They keep showing me, like, Megan Fox and MGK for some reason. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you identified with them, or maybe, like, you align with their energy. After reading her poetry book, I could not listen to his music the same. Like, to the point where I actually had to sell my ticket to his show. And, like, also, I feel like I need to say this allegedly, but also, you can't convince me that that's not the performative male archetype. Okay? So maybe some of you are, you know, similar to Megan Fox's energy. Maybe you're taking back your power. Maybe you're taking back your control. Maybe you're recognizing that, like, he doesn't get to dictate your reality anymore. Maybe you're recognizing that, like, he is, like, that performative male archetype. I don't know. There's just something very dominant about that that's coming forward. So for some of you, there's definitely something about, like, you seeing truth. And whatever truth you're seeing, it's helping you in a fundamental way into your healing. Yeah, I feel like this was something you were definitely ignoring in the past. 1111 on the timer. And part of it was because of the love that you had for them. Part of it was because of your trauma. Part of it was because you were afraid of being alone. But I feel like you've been focusing on yourself. And Spirit's saying, like, the more you let go of this individual, the more you actually release it and you walk away from it. Not only are you going to transform into yourself, but you're also going to start to attract more abundance. You're going to attract more stability and structure. There's something about a sword tattoo on, like, your arm or your forearm. We also have love triangle. What did I say? Third party, multiple lovers, choices. Yeah, I hate to admit that, but, like, it was coming through pretty strongly in the tarot. So I do feel like it's very likely that you have caught someone in a cheating situation. You've caught someone doing something behind, you know, your back. Take it however it resonates for you. We also have child services coming out. Some of you, maybe you have a child with this person and you're worried what that's going to look like, especially because I did mention Megan Fox's energy. Like, they did have a baby together. So this actually says kids at risk of being taken and is about to be reporting something, neglect or abuse. Maybe some of you have been like ignoring how neglectful they are to their kid. Maybe you've been ignoring some sort of abuse, especially if you live together. So those of you that live with this person, if you have been noticing how they're treating their child is not okay, or like that they shouldn't actually have access to their child, perhaps like you walking away is also going to set the ball in motion towards them not having access to it. I don't know. Take it how it resonates. We also have low IQ. You could also be recognizing that this person is not even remotely on your intellectual level. We have dirt digging. They could be trying to find out some tea on you so that they can, like, I'm hearing smear campaign. We have player. What did I tell you? Like, multiple people are feeding into this person's ego. Again, something about basketball. I think that was the last group. I can't remember. We also have queen rising. So this is what I mean. Like I told y'all, you're stepping into your power. Like you're taking back control of your life. This literally says stepping into your power. Praised, coming up, spotlight. I feel like a lot of you are shifting into yourself, and there could be someone from your past. For a small group of you, this is already like past energy, but there could be someone from your past who's trying to like dig up dirt on you because you're evolving beyond them. Others of you, you cut off a really narcissistic person, and that person is like trying to fish some shit so that they can like ruin you because they feel like you ruined them. Meanwhile, their actions actually did that. Being a shitty person is what did that. Literally, you hurt this person's ego real bad, y'all. Like, you bruised the out of this person's ego. And I feel like you didn't even do anything. You just cut them off. You were just like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this for me. I don't want this for my child. I don't want this for my life. For those of you that do have a kid, like, I do feel like you kind of went into this position where you were like, I'm not going to show my child that this kind of behavior is tolerable. This person could party a lot. They could have a bit of like an alcohol or a substance abuse problem. Yeah, and they make shit up. Like, I honestly feel like not only do they have a bit of a low IQ, but they're constantly making up bullshit. This person, like, honestly is pretty low vibrational. We have creeping in their head, overanalyzing. They could smoke a lot of weed, especially. We have chasing. I honestly feel like this individual triggered your chasing pattern, triggered your chasing wound, but you have, like, recognized your worth in some aspect. Yeah, because you're dusting it off. You're no longer tolerating it. You're like, you know what? I might want love in my life, but I don't want love that bad. I don't want love to the point of my mental health. This person might stalk you a little bit. They might become a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over it. It won't really amount to anything. We also have screenshots, getting evidence, proof, or facts, running, and then lastly, we have spiritual hater. So for those of you that I keep being drawn to Megan Fox and MGK, okay? Like, think about that as a big whole. She opened him up to spirituality. She opened him up to this, like, whole new world that, in my opinion, allegedly, he is using for clout. And I feel like there's something about that dynamic that could be similar for this collective. But the main basis here is you're getting away from it. You're running from it. We also have spiritual hater. This is someone who hates on you spiritually. They don't like your light. They don't like the power that you hold. They don't like that you work within the light. They could also be a bit of a divination abuser, constantly trying to pull tarot on you or oracles. I'm also seeing runes for some of you. This person has like their head in the clouds, but not in like a cheeky way, like in a terrible way. You have this person blocked. Honestly, for a lot of you, you're just being told to focus on your money, focus on your career, focus on moving your life in a new direction. Yeah, I feel like this person had a bad reputation, but you tried it anyway. Something about shit talking. This person could be talking negatively about you. Just know that their karma is coming. Like, the reckoning is on its way, is what I just heard. Okay. Anyway, this is the shortest pile yet, apparently. I hope that helped whoever it was meant for. I think it goes without saying that this was a lust-based relationship, to answer the title of this reading. But yeah, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day.